What are some subtle signs a person is not quite alright mentally? One of the biggest signs that I've taken note of throughout my life experiences is usually someone that is happy to take as much as they can from other people. Whether it be time, energy, resources, support, money, that will absolutely be the last person to ever reciprocate or offer, and a said person they've done this to may have any type of need. Anyone that can be that level of greedy, inconsiderate, emotionless, disingenuous ... is a huge signal for me that they mentally not quite straight, do not align as someone that I would want to associate with. As a person having a hard time in life right now, how do you ask for help? I hate the idea of asking for help, like maybe I'm just being silly. I used to be such a motivated person. My grades in school were so good. I had a plan. I don't know where it went downhill. It was like a switch flipped. One day I just stopped having motivation to even get up. I feel like my brain is tired all the time. No matter how much I sleep, it doesn't feel like enough. I went to all my college classes today. Getting up and getting ready felt like such a hard task when it's not. My brother is very repetitive. He will ask you something, you'll answer. The conversation around you will continue, and a few minutes later he will ask again. Maybe a little different. This will happen again and again. I'm asking the same question in a different way with long pauses in between. Almost as though he's trying to get you to answer a certain way. Eventually he will just get up and leave the room, dissatisfied. Sometimes he will text me days later, confirming my answer to the question. It's so fucking weird but harmless. He's diagnosed schizophrenic. If you are here and feeling worse about yourself, take heart in the fact that you are not alone, unfortunately. There is no substitute for hard work in making yourself well. The hardest part is when things are going really well and you feel like you'll be okay. Know that this is a lifelong process. There is no cure, but it will make you stronger and able to help others. Tell someone how you feel. Open yourself up. A friend, a social worker, a barista. Live in the moment. Make yourself happy before taking on relationships. You got this. For myself, I retreat within myself more. Stop initiating conversations. Engage less in conversations, etc. The happy positive facade starts slipping the longer that goes on, and then people are less inclined to engage and the isolation escalates. I'm pretty self-aware these days, so I usually give myself a couple of days of living inside my head. And then I force myself to get back into engaging with people, even if it's the last thing I want to do. Because I do actually enjoy being alive for the most part, and I've got kids that need a mother. I have anxiety, and I have noticed that when I am asked to do something at work that I'm unfamiliar with, I will ask multiple times in multiple different ways. That's the only way I can receive proper confirmation that I am performing the task correctly. It's almost as if I have to ask every single step. I'm sure my coworkers hate me for it, but I'd rather ask 100 times than not ask, and have to own up and then fix my mistake. For reference, I work in a relatively fast-paced environment, isolating from friends and family, difficulty with basic personal hygiene, difficulty maintaining their space, flat affect, monotone voice, apathy towards hobbies and activities that they previously enjoyed, increase or decrease in appetite, lack of insight, hypersexuality or loss of interest in sex, difficulty concentrating, short-term memory struggles, disruption of sleep or needing tons of sleep, sudden euphoria, and so on and so on. I hope you are doing okay. That are insults to their own character. A bit of self-deprecation could be chalked up to acknowledging how you act sometimes. But if it's constant and nearly all the time, then maybe check in on them. Checks in on people a lot. They might either be a worrywart, just care a lot about their friends, or perhaps just looking for a bit of help themselves, but want to make sure nobody else needs it, too. If they act autistic, like always wanting everything to be clean and tidy, A former co-worker of mine always was a bit weird. I thought he had autism because he was way older than me, working a job in my area pretty much only teens would work. He was there full time. This season I learned that he got fired for posting about our boss on Facebook and YouTube. He was firmly convinced that our boss was an alien and shared that with everyone. For me, it's the eyes. If the eyes look off, and I don't mean the smile doesn't reach the eyes, but the eyes look like they're seeing something I'm not or have seen too much that I should not, it makes the middle of my back itch between my shoulder blades. Another thing are what I term pedo eyes, like Kenneth Copeland, Matt Keats, CeeLo Green. Something about the eyebrows and the eyes just look predatory to me, like they're wearing a mask. My brother started to post more on social media. It was the start of a really long manic phase, and kind of kicked off the first clue that he had something going on. He had struggled with anxiety and depression before, but this was different. We also suspect CTE is partly to blame. He's definitely bipolar. Not sure of his treatment. It's been almost 3 years since we've spoken. Best to everyone. I'm going to snicker and say there is a lot of solid feedback. I'm just as guilty, but wanted to add to the conversation. Judging a person to see if they have mental issues. Most are very good at this. So why aren't there more, if any, support for mental issues in America? Keep in mind most of the people being targeted judged don't have the money or capability to get assistance on their own. Incongruence in the emotions on their face and what they are communicating. It gives you the intuitive vibe that something is off and puts you on guard. The classic case is the guy who comes to talk to you in the bar and be really friendly and smooth. At their face shows flashes of anger mixed with anxiety and forced smiles that don't appear genuine. This is what we call an incongruent affect. Talking really quiet and shutting down when you ask them basic questions. I have a classmate in grad school that was completely cut off by her friend, and she was never the same. Has constant reports and violations from faculty. She was never super talkative, but now she can't even answer basic questions. Doesn't make eye contact and scurries away really fast when people come near her. If they're posting, speaking pattern changes. If they usually are pretty calm, but start posting saying abhorrent things, that's a pretty good sign they're going to attempt their own lives. And they're trying to make sure people don't miss them. Also, if someone has been depressed for quite some time, and then very suddenly becomes happy again, that means they've made a plan and you need to act quick. If you know someone who is severely depressed, then suddenly they seem better and happier than ever. They're about to commit suicide. They've decided it and are at peace with it. Hence why they seem so happy. Recovery is gradual and is something you'll only really notice if you're super close to them. So it's easy to miss this. And oftentimes there's nothing you can do, unfortunately. I find that comment about sensitivity troubling. I grew up in a male-dominated family, with a dominant, controlling mother. I was regularly told I was too sensitive, which had a major effect on my confidence and ability to be just me, authentic. This culture that we live in comes down hard on feelings. This is very worrisome to see that sensitivity is such a problem for people. Still, when they adopt a religious mindset that is closer to superstition about every single thing in life, starts thinking the Archangel Gabriel is walking in their garden when the branches move in the wind, or attribute absolutely every single thing, like a napkin falling, to God's plan, something is wrong. When they get personally offended at your objective boundaries, or when they try to say negative things to themselves about you just in earshot so you can hear, with the wrong person. This could be every day for years. It seems to indicate lack of ability to self-regulate or ask for what they need directly, possible unhealthy codependency on their part. I used to work answering phones relating to legal issues, and a big sign was always pressured speech. They'll talk and it only halfway makes sense. But typically people wanted to hear some reassurance or information, and these people would not stop talking no matter what I said. And usually their legal issue was outlandish, to say the very least. For me, it's isolation. I haven't been okay in years, so now I work nights and barely interact with anyone, I've become so isolated. I don't even know how to integrate back into society or communicate properly. Appetite is also an indicator. When I stop eating and lose weight rapidly, something is very wrong. I'm usually hoping for death by starvation. 1. Threaten self-harm as a way to get things from you. 2. Offhand insults. 3. Tells you others bend the rules for them, that you're the only one enforcing them. 4. Completely bonkers interpretation of what others say or do, almost always in a negative light. 5. They tell you they're a target of gang stalking, that gang stalking is real. There's a syndrome people taking antipsychotics can get called tardive dyskinesia. So if you spot someone smacking their lips and rolling their fingers frequently, that could be someone who takes an antipsychotic. Not that they're symptomatic of their illness, just that they might have them if not for the med causing the side effects. You can scroll the comments and basically see that anything is apparently a sign. Too busy or too isolated, too selfish or too self-deprecating. Whatever you settle on, please use it as an opportunity to show another person compassion instead of devaluing them and throwing them away. If their vehicle and/or house is a mess, I believe that a person's home reveals a lot about who they are as a person. I developed a weird special interest in trying to figure out what a person was like based on their home when I was a kid, and would go along with my mum to clean houses on sick days. I found it all so fascinating.